In this video, I will share the simple operation of the timeline panel. First, import the material. Click to open. There are two ways to add materials to the timeline panel below. The first way is to drag the material directly to the timeline panel below. The other way is to click on the plus sign in the bottom right corner of the material. By clicking on it, this will also add the material to the timeline panel below. There are two differences between these two ways of adding materials. The first difference is that when we add a material using drag and drop, it can be added anywhere on the track. For example, I can add it to the back of this material. I can also add it to the front of the material. But when we use the plus sign to add material, CapCut will add the material to the timeline panel based on the position of the pointer. When the pointer position is in the first half of the material, click the plus sign and it will be added to the front of this material. When placing the pointer on the content of the second half of a material, click the plus sign again. You will find that it will be added to the back of this material. This is the rule when using the click plus sign to add materials. This is also the first difference between using drag and drop and clicking the plus sign to add materials. The second difference is when adding materials using drag and drop. It can be added to different tracks. For example, if I release the mouse here, a new track appears here, and the material is added to this track. I'll demonstrate it again. When we drag this video below, you will find a green line appearing here. Release the mouse at this time. A new track appears and this material is added to the track. But if we add material by clicking the plus sign, no new track will appear. This is the second difference between using drag and drop and clicking the plus sign to add materials. Now that we know how to add material to a track, let's learn how to delete material from a track. There are 4 ways to delete materials. The first way is to select the material you want to delete. Right-click. You will see a delete option. Click on it and it will be deleted. The second way is to select the material you want to delete. Right-click. You will see that the shortcut key for deletion is backspace. We select it. Then press and hold the backspace key on your keyboard. This material has been deleted from the timeline panel. The third way is to select the material you want to delete. There's a trash can sign here. Click on the trash can here. This material has been deleted. The fourth way is to select the material you want to delete. Find the menu. Click on Edit. Click on Delete. This material has been deleted from the timeline panel. These are the 4 ways to delete a material from the timeline panel. Next, let's look at the basic operations of materials in the timeline panel. Click on a material. Right mouse button. Click Copy. Find a blank space in the timeline panel. Right mouse click. Click on Paste. A copy of the material is made. But note that the position where you paste the material is determined by the position of the pointer here. Let's demonstrate again. Right-click to copy the material. Right-click here to paste the material. You will notice that the right mouse button is clicked on the left side of the pointer, but the paste is on the right side of the pointer, because it is aligned according to the pointer. In addition to the copy function, there is also a cut function. Let's do it briefly. Click on Cut. The material disappears. And then click on Paste. It's pasted here. We have just demonstrated 3 basic operations of copying, cutting and pasting with the right mouse button. There are other ways to do these 3 operations. Take copying for example. We can copy with the right mouse button. We can also press and hold Ctrl+C on the keyboard to copy. You can also find Edit in the menu, where there is also an option to copy. There are 3 ways to make a copy. There are also 3 ways to cut. We can right-click to cut. Ctrl+X can be used to cut. You can also use the Edit option in the menu to cut. There are also 3 ways to paste. You can right-click to bring up the Paste button. You can also use the Ctrl+V shortcut to paste. You can also use the Edit button in the menu. These are the basic operations of copying, cutting, and pasting materials. Next, let's look at moving materials. Suppose we want to move the position of a material. Use the left mouse button to press and hold the material. Move it up and down so that it can change tracks. You can also press and hold the material and drag it left and right to move it around the track. You can also place the material in the middle of the two materials so that the material will be inserted in the middle of the two materials. This is a simple way to move a material. You may have a question: what is the purpose of so many layers of track? One major function of multilayer tracks is to cover. Here's a pointer. Look at the pointer while you look at the preview window. Now this pointer is previewing a video of two women talking. As I move the pointer, watch the preview window. It changes to a picture of a cat. Why did it change? It's because there's a cat material at the top. The cat material is blocking the material below it. So the preview window becomes a preview of the cat material. As we move the pointer to the left, I want you to look at this. It's now a video of a woman walking towards the camera. Because the footage from the top track is blocking the footage from the bottom track. It's an overlay relationship. Simply put, the effect of video track overlay is that the material in the upper track will cover the material in the lower track. You may see a yellow line in the timeline panel when you preview. This yellow line is the preview axis. You can turn off the preview axis here. So what does this preview axis do? Let's turn on the preview axis. What this preview axis does is when the mouse is placed here, it will automatically preview the material in the player panel at this point in time. If we turn off the preview axis, only when we drag the pointer to this place, the player panel will preview the material at that point in time. You can turn on or off the preview axis according to your preference. I've turned off the preview axis because I'm used to it being off, so I'll turn it off here. Finally, let's take a look at what's the difference between tracks. Only this main track has the adsorption function. Move a material to the main track. You will find that the material in the back will automatically snap to the material in the front. Try it again, please pay attention. This material will automatically snap to the previous material. But the material on other tracks does not have such a function. Materials from other tracks can be dragged and dropped at will. Later materials will not be adsorbed to the back of the previous materials. If you delete a piece of material in the main track, the material in the track above the piece of material will also be deleted. If you only delete the material of non-main tracks, the material of other tracks will not be deleted. This is the difference between the main track and other tracks.